Paradise. What is it, really? Across cultures and religions, be it Elysium in Greek mythology, Gan Eden in Judaism, Sakand in Sikhism, humanity has always yearned for a final destination of bliss, a refuge from suffering. It's an idea as old as time. And honestly, who can blame us? Life is hard, it's messy, relentless, full of struggles. And so we cling to the hope of something greater beyond it all, something to give our existence meaning. I realize it's a heavy start for a video about a waifu gambling simulator, but these deep philosophical questions are at the heart of Blue Archive Volume 3 Chapter 1. They set the tone for the story that follows, and so I have to put emphasis on them. To make this analysis manageable, I'll be tackling one chapter at a time, so if you're watching before all 4 parts are out, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified as soon as the next one drops. Now let's dive in, shall we?
Are you aware of Kyoto's 7 cones? The 5th one relates to paradise. Can we prove that anyone has ever reached paradise?
Even though we're not aware of when or where this is happening, she illustrates to us what the Eden Treaty is and tells us about the 5th cone of Kyoto's, a paradoxical conundrum about the nature of paradise. The Eden Treaty, on the other hand, is a peace treaty between 2 of the most powerful schools in Kyoto's, those being Trinity and Gehenna, which have had a long history of mutual animosity. This peace treaty is supposed to put all of this to rest. The pact was written by the General Student Council president, basically the de facto president of all of Kyoto's, but she has been missing and so the future of the treaty is uncertain. And yet, its fragile status mirrors the larger philosophical question in a way that'll be very clear in not too long.
If paradise exists, then the ones who reach it will remain there for eternity. If someone does leave paradise, it's because they weren't fully satisfied. So, it was never a paradise for them. Therefore, those who reach paradise cannot be found and should not exist outside of paradise.
Is Eden Paradise reachable? Is making amends and finding common ground possible amidst the years of hostility and perhaps even forces that work against it? Can this paradox actually disprove the existence of paradise? What is the truth? What can you trust and what can you put your faith in? This paradox serves as a lens through which the entire narrative unfolds. Blue Archive Volume 3 is as much about faith, religious and secular, as it is about politics and relationships. For crying out loud, the school is named Trinity. It is steeped in theological symbolism. The 3 factions that made Trinity to begin with are named Pater, Filius and Sanctus. These themes were not hidden in the slightest.
Eden is the paradise from the scripture. It exists nowhere and cannot be found. In other words, it's nothing but a sweet illusion conjured by dreamers. You see, surely, this is the metaphor behind the treaty's name. Sensei, you may find the story that's about to unfold to be unpalatable. It's a story meant to make you uncomfortable, uneasy, and leave you unhappy. A cynical story that will make you doubt people and truth. Gloomy, sad, painful, and ultimately bitter, but entirely truthful. I ask that you not look away and see through to the end, for that is your responsibility.
Wait, so why are we at Trinity to begin with? Well, Trinity has a club named the Mika War Club for students that failed their classes, and as Shell as Sensei, we're asked to take care of this club. The character of Sensei, while being a self-insert, is very important, not just because of their position in the story, but also because of their values, and probably deserves a whole video dedicated to him, but that's a far-off video idea for another time. We're introduced to 4 members of the Mika War Club and their reasons for being in this club. Ajitani Hifumi, who seems to be a normal girl, and she fucking failed her classes because she went to a concert instead of an exam.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Alright, she's not a new face to Sensei as she appeared in Volume 1, but that knowledge isn't really necessary, which I appreciated because between the first time I played Volume 1 and Volume 3, over 2 years went by. Next up we have Orawa Hanako, an exhibitionist that I wouldn't let near my children. Well, she could definitely be the mother of them. Hey yo, that's crazy! Who said that? Yo, that's weird. Arrested for strolling around campus in her school swimsuit. Apparently was an honor student during her first year, with her grades suddenly dropping during her second. Next up, we have Shimoe Kohara, a justice task force member that failed her classes because she tried to take second year exams as a first year and got better in the ass for her. And last but not least, we have Shirasu Azusa, a very stoic, kind of weird transfer student. She occupied a tear gas storage area while being pursued for committing violent acts on school grounds, evaded capture, used guerrilla warfare tactics on school grounds. What fucking else has she done? Tax fraud? But I guess that is a normal day in Kyoto's, isn't it? She's also failing her classes. Almost forgot to mention that. The worst crime of all. Alright, a little flashback. As I've said earlier, as Shale-sensei, we have been invited by the tea party to go and teach these girls. Namely, Nagisa and Mika, with the third member being Seia, which we haven't met in person yet. The 3 tea party members are all technically the student council president because of old traditions, but currently Nagisa is the current host, and therefore she holds the most power. Pretty simple premise for a story that will evolve into an enormous story of political intrigue, historical grievances, but this chapter is mostly a setup to what comes next, but please don't take it as being devoid of content because this is not the case. And so the preparation for the first makeup exam begins and everything seems to be going smooth. Maybe a little too smooth? Hanako in particular seems to be too knowledgeable to have failed any exams, but we decided to just leave it at that for now. The day of reckoning. The day of the exam comes, and the exam is fairly easy, so Ifumi breathes a sigh of relief. And then... Yep, and so we're getting shipped off to the boot camp, where the girls are gonna study for the next remedial exam. After the exam, we talk to Nagisa one-on-one about the first failure, and Nagisa drops on us a fucking bomb. The Makeup Work Club was actually created with the intention to expel students. Reason being, among those 4, there is a traitor of Trinity. Although Nagisa doesn't exactly know who. And this traitor is looking to prevent the Eden Treaty from being signed, as Trinity and Gehenna are finally preparing to sign the treaty, and the Tea Party is looking to get rid of any interference. Nagisa then apologizes for putting us in this position, but still asks us to find out whoever the traitor is. We reluctantly accept but vow to do things our own way, because Sensei is not down with the idea for anyone to be expelled no matter what. I'm glad they introduced some type of conflict so early on and also put a spotlight not only on Nagisa's intention but also Sensei's way of thinking. Very nice. And so, the boot camp begins. And the first thing the girls decide to do is cleaning the place up. Not just the room, but the whole ass building they're in. Next up, they also decide to clean up the outdoor pool. Everyone is having fun. Would you look at us having our little own beach episode? None of this is really super important, it's just the girls bonding. Night falls and we all head back to our rooms, and after a while Ifumi comes to visit Sensei's room. We talk to her and we learn that she's also been informed that somebody in the Makeup Work Club is a traitor and basically coerced into working for Nagisa. Sensei reassures Ifumi and just tells her to help the girls out and don't worry about anything else. In the meanwhile, Hanako and Azusa find each other in the building lobby and start having some idle chatter. Azusa mentions how she's planning on doing a nighttime patrol and mentions being trained to be awake for 5 days in a row. Azusa is weird, but we've known this. The next day comes when Ifumi decides to have everyone do a mock exam to learn where everybody is at before they study for the second exam. And so the first camp mock exams are tallied and everyone except for Ifumi fucking failed again. But Ifumi got fire in her eyes, she is not going to let anybody fail, and she even puts up a prize of a Peroro plushie from when they all pass. Evening comes when the girls are hard at work. Azusa is asking help to Koharu with some problems, and so Koharu decides to get out of the school text and... Hanako the Master Gune immediately recognizes it as that good stuff. Apparently Koharu forgot to turn it over to the Justice Task Force while doing her work, and so it was in her backpack this whole time. So you're telling me that's been in there for like a fucking week, yeah? Yeah, I believe that. Sure. Now, because of that whole situation, Sensei and Koharu decided to go to the Justice Task Force to hand over the book. Guess what, by the way? The book is actually hers. Well, because of course it is. 2 Gooners in the same club. 2. 3 if you include the Sensei. Oh, and she says something about her also being a spy sent to monitor the Makeup Work Club, but Sensei doesn't really believe it. So we get to the Justice Task Force. God, this fucking name is hard to say. We get to the Justice League. Put the book back and assuming Koharu then have a conversation we can really hear properly. And then we head back to the dorms. The girls are chatting in the room and this fucking Gooner Hanako reveals the bikini she had the day prior was in fact just lingerie. And even though this sounds very stupid, hear me out. What's actually the difference between swimsuit and underwear? Conceptually, they're not much different, let's be real. What if the day prior she said it was really just her underwear? Then how could that be proven? You just have to trust her word. What does it mean to put your trust into something or someone? What is the point in being told the truth that you can trust or prove for yourself? Hanako here already gives her personal answer to one of the questions of the story. A very logical one at that, not something you'd expect from a D1 Gooner. When you're a Gooner, you can still enjoy media critically. Can we prove that anyone has ever reached paradise? Azusa also picks up on this being an allusion to the 5th cone. By the way, I gotta say, this is a very good showing of the first rule of cinema, which is show, not tell. Here we see that Hanako really ain't just a dumb gooner she tries to pass herself as, and this has been hinted at since the beginning. Plus, it already puts a bug in our mind about Azusa, as she already knows about the cone, but she's a transfer student and mentions that she just heard of that somewhere. Some other games storytelling really should take some notes. Now, we also later get a confirmation from Ifumi that Hanako has in fact been scoring low on purpose. I personally wish we had some space between us getting a whiff of that and actually getting confirmation instead of immediately learning it. But even then, we still don't know the why of Hanako acting dumb, so it's fine. I guess Nexon did that because we're about to reach the end of chapter 1, which if you didn't get already, is laying the groundwork for everything that will follow. The rest of the story won't be so slice of lifey, happy-go-lucky. The night passes and in the morning we get a strange visit from Mika. She wants us to meet her at the pool. Remember her? She's one of 3 Tea Party members. Student council presidents. Anyway, she makes some idle chatter with us, but Sensei is extremely wary. And so Mika starts getting to the point. She starts by saying how she knows of Nagisa's offer to Sensei and rebuttals by stating that he refused the request because ultimately he's not part of Trinity and he's always on the side of students. Mika included, W-Riz. Mika blushes and then quickly composes herself and tries to strike a deal with us. I'll tell you which member of the club is the traitor. That being Shirasu Azusa. And then we as the player see this. Sensei doesn't see this, but we see Azusa talking to someone, mentioning everything going according to plan. Mika continues, saying Azusa was originally a student from Aryu Satellite School, which is a school that broke off from Trinity a long time ago. If you didn't catch this already, this is very important, so please remember it. But to our surprise, Mika, against all odds, asks us to protect Azusa. Chapter ends, black screen, cinema. With that, chapter 104 ends on a hell of a cliffhanger. This was a great setup chapter, from already implanting some of the questions that will permeate all 4 chapters, to introducing the main characters and giving motivations and mysteries surrounding them, and then giving a hint to some of the conflict we'll see. While I think this chapter did great for what it set out to do, one critique that could be aimed at it would be that the majority of it is very slice of life. The thing is, while that is a fair critique, I personally think that it was necessary, as in later chapters themes of friendship related but not solely pertaining to these 4 will come back, and you couldn't have as much of an impact in some scenes and dialogue without having experienced the time they've spent together and how close they've grown. Even though nowadays when you hear in anime adjacent media the word friendship, you might puke in your mouth a little because in every other shonen the power of friendship it's harder than a fucking nuke. Humans are ultimately social creatures, and the themes of companionship can be very crucial to a story when handled properly, which I think, not just in this volume but even the ones before it, Blue Archive does a great job at. And thank you for making it to the end of the video. This was a hard one to make. I wanted to challenge myself in writing department, and so this thing came out. Let me know if y'all enjoyed it and would like to see more of it. I mean, I'm probably still gonna analyze the rest of volume 3, but if many of you like it, it'll be done sooner rather than later. Also, thank you to Axox for voicing Seia in my stupid little YouTube vid. She did a great job. Thanks for watching. I'm also live on Twitch a fairly good amount of days per week, so if you wanna hear more of my beautiful voice, come over there. Join the Discord. I'm trying to get a lot of base people in there. Like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff you guys already know. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.